Being in business as a self-employed just because you hate your job and you don't want to work for someone anymore, that's probably the wrong reason for being in business. Hey, this is Ron again with another quote now. Now we have something from Michael Gerber, which is the author of a book, E-Myth. And he says something like that. The purpose of going into business is to get free of a job so you can create jobs for other people. But the way that he uses this quote is to describe, the wrong reason why people get into the business, right? And I was one of those, right? I got into the business, I opened a business because I couldn't do what I wanted to do in the job that I had, and I couldn't I couldn't decide for my time. So the reason for going into business was to get rid of a job and then creating jobs for other people. But that's the wrong reason to go into business. And so you don't want to go into a business, open a business because you want to have, freedom from a job. Because the challenge is the only thing that you have when you get into the business, you have freedom of deciding kind of how you use your time. But don't imagine that it will be easier. Don't imagine that if you go into a business and you try to do the same thing that you've done in a job but by yourself, don't imagine that it would be easier, because that's a mistake that many people do. Why would you take all the risk in being in business by yourself and with so little benefits? Because the benefit of being in business is when you are able to be in business for the right reason, to have a passion, to build something really big that helps you, create a bigger impact in the world. But being in business as a self-employed just because you hate your job and you don't want to work for someone anymore, that's probably the wrong reason for being in business. But I started that way. I didn't know that I needed to have a big enough dream that pulls me in the direction of where I want to go, and I need to have a business idea that will, propel me in that direction. I started for exactly this wrong reason. I just, I didn't want it to be in a job anymore. I couldn't do what I wanted to do there. So I said, okay, then it's probably the time for me to try to do this by myself. And I don't regret that, not for a second. But what I'm saying is that you don't want to get in business for that reason. You want to find your passion. You want to find something that you do really, really, really well. And that might be very different than what you're doing today. And for that reason, you want to, if you see a business potential, for that reason, you want to start your business. But don't start your business to get rid of a job and with this idea that you'll create jobs for others. That's probably the wrong reason. You want to have a passion. When you have a passion and you follow your passion, then everything else will fall in place. So if you are in a job right now and you think about quitting your job and working by yourself, I would think twice, because it's not as, if you work 8 hours in a job, when you are by yourself, you need to work 12 hours, 14 hours a day. If you work, 8 hours in a job, 8 hours by yourself wouldn't be enough. And so what you want to be aware of is that everything is possible, but nothing is easy. So if you have this idea to quit your job and just go and be self-employed, be aware of the fact that it will take a lot more time and effort to build your personal brand, to build your business by yourself, than being in a job where you have a stable income. I don't say stay in a job. I just say be aware of that and plan your transition wisely. So Michael Gerber said, the purpose of going in business is getting rid of a job and creating jobs for others. That's probably, the wrong way of getting into the business. You don't want to be pushed by the discontent in your job, but you want to be led by a purpose. You want to find your passion, and you could always develop your passion while you are in your job. You never tear down the old house before you have built a new house, right? So you want to, stay in your job and build your passion. So when you make that transition, you know where you're going, and you already have built something there. So you don't start from scratch, because that's difficult. So I hope this gives you some insight here. I hope if you are on that transition, if you need some reflection, maybe that's the time for you to do that. And if I can help you in any way, do not hesitate to reach out to me, because I've been through this and I think I can help you. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Speak soon.